Welcome back. This is our sixth podcast. It's Stephen Anthony from the Property Boys, and today is just Anthony and I, and we're going to go through some topics about our business, and let's talk a little bit about how we came up with these topics.
Yeah, sure. We thought it might be fun to kind of share not stuff about our business, like the real estate market, but our business, like the business we work in, what we do kind of day to day, what we like, what we don't like, the questions we get asked from friends, clients, social media.
Yeah,
right.
It's just
that kind of stuff. Kind of give you the in.
Getting you in a piece. We're giving you a glimpse of our day or days, and hopefully gain some insight into what we see or how we feel actually. Let's get to it. We have a few here. I hope our notes match, but
maybe
we went through a few topics yesterday and this morning. So you start.
You want me to start it off?
Yeah.
Okay, let's start off with this. We get this question quite a bit, more from, I guess, newer realtors. What advice would we give someone starting in this business?
It's a good one.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I asked the question. Why don't you start with the answer?
Okay, so the advice that we would get anybody, if I had my time back, I started a little bit earlier than Anthony before he came on, and then we became one as a team. But when I first started, it was literally myself. Had I had my time back, I would have joined a team 1,000,000%. I mean, the learning curve is just so much better. You hit the ground running, really, on a good team.
Yeah, it's got to be a good team.
It's got to be a
caveat,
good team,
right? It's got to be a good team.
Yeah, you're into the action. I mean,
even when we started ourselves, we were a team, but we would have both probably still gone to a team. Like,
right, it would have been, exactly. Like Anthony came on, we became a team. We don't mean that kind of team. We didn't know what we were doing together initially.
Right.
But a team, 1,000,000%. You're right into the action. I can't tell you how valuable that is. Now, that's not to say everybody. I heard, in the beginning especially, I heard, going into a team was a good idea, but the
ego gets in the way, right? The ego gets in the way.
1,000,000%.
Even when I started, I was like, I can do this myself. We can do this ourselves. Yeah. The ego gets in the way, I think, a bit, and maybe. I think there's listen, there was benefits. We did learn things having to do it on ourselves. I think, right? There was benefits from starting from scratch, I guess, but I think the benefits probably outweighed, the benefits of starting by yourself or on your own.
Yeah. So
just the best practices, just the right habits, the discipline,
just the buzzwords. Even so, this is not to say that you have to stay on a team forever. There's a big turnover on anybody going to a team, unless you're the owner of that team or team leaders. So. But it's definitely worthwhile. I can't stress that enough. That's number one.
Yeah, I would say number two would be joining the right brokerage.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
We when we started, we did join a pretty big brokerage. It was a good brokerage. But I think joining the right brokerage is the difference, right? Like the brokerage we're with now, I think had we started with them first, there would have been a bit more of a foundation.
Yeah.
That would have helped us adopt the right habits and the right business planning and all that kind of stuff, right?
Right away that would have happened.
Right.
And I'm going to be honest, like to truly appreciate a brokerage as ours, we're Roll LePage Signature Realty, to truly appreciate this kind of brokerage, you really got to be on another.
True.
Right?
Yeah. We've talked to a lot of people here that they started here and they're like, well, what's the big deal? Kind of they know it's great. They feel it's great, but they don't have anything to compare it to. It's like having a bad girlfriend and then having a good girlfriend.
You don't know.
You don't know until you can compare it.
Yeah. So 100% the brokerage is thing. So those two combined, you are going to be miles ahead over anybody else. And that's the advice we'd give her. We say that to everyone.
Yeah.
When we're talking to people, they think we're trying to pitch to come on our team. Which we are to an extent, but we're saying
we get nothing. We get nothing to recommend to the brokerage.
No, absolutely not.
We do it all the time, right? Because
exactly. We just almost feel like why we can't believe if they're thinking about anybody else. That's how much we're.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. When you do join a team, there is a bit of a step back in some ways because you're not making as much. You're splitting, right? There's splits that happen, but we're kind of saying it's worth it. That one step back is kind of worth the 2 steps forward that you gain.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
I almost don't even look at a step back. You're not making any money anyway, but I
You
get
may
it.
actually, you're right. You might actually get more business or more. You may make more by if they're feeding you leads or just from what you're gaining and learning and what you're able to implement in your everyday work life.
So,
right?
yeah, so those two things are for sure. So let's just quickly about us. We have a real estate team, but our team, the goal wasn't really about growing a team. Our goal was really
not really,
just working together.
Yeah.
And then the team sort of,
organically
grown to a point, and we're happy with that. We're not really, unless it hits us in the face, we're not really recruiting anybody. We're not looking for.
No, there was times where we kind of did maybe a bit more actively look, but we're not really actively seeking it. It's more like if it comes across. I mean, there's a point where you also need it because there's two of us. We are able to offload certain things to each other that help us that a single agent wouldn't be able to do. They'd have to maybe partner with someone else. So that kind of maybe delays our need to have to add people to the team, right?
Yeah.
Because there's two of us. Plus, we do have other agents on the team as well that if we needed to offload stuff to, we could do that. But yeah, we're not actively trying to grow.
Sure. Not that we won't. It's just that
Yeah.
we're so busy trying to, evolve with our own systems.
Right.
We're trying to perfect them. And really, our team kind of model is really about cost sharing more than anything else. It's not about. It's not about that's really what it's about. We have our resources, we have our systems, we have our subscriptions that were, the BombBomb, the CRM. The MailChimp, and we have an administrative assistant full time that is beneficial to have a cost sharing type of model. So it
kind of mimics the brokerage. It kind of mimics the brokerage model, right?
Yeah.
Right. So it's in line with that. We're not here trying to get rich off one agent by any means, right?
So it's really exactly. It's really a plug and play for anybody wanting to come in. It's a plug and play. That's really what we're offering.
Yeah.
You're in a great brokerage who offers you great resources. We're drilling down to our team, which we believe we offer great resources. So it's a double.
Right. They get double the resources, double the I guess mentorship in a way, right? They can lean on us to give advice. I mean, there's other agents that lean on us and aren't on our team. We're happy to help too. We do that as well, right? So that's not to say that we're only helping people on our team, right? But I guess when you start, what about like when you're starting out, CRMs, right? We're just going through a change in our customer relationship management tool, CRM. We get a lot of agents that come in, which CRM do you use? Should you use CRM, right? Some people still use spreadsheets that we know of, right? For us, I think I personally like using the CRM. Like I think, and as you get a bit more into the business, there's better CRMs out there that can do more for you. When you're starting out, though, do you need one? I think it's helpful. Personally,
I think it's helpful to a point. It's talking about what is a good CRM. This is why joining a team might be good because the resources are already there for them,
and they've already explored it. Like they've already gone through.
We've already did the homework, right? So they can dive right into that resource. But if you're starting out, really, at the end of the day, it's the CRM. The best CRM is the one you use.
Yeah.
Period. So I mean, even with our previous CRM,
I get that. I always got that, but I got that one. I get it, but there is like the best. If yes, you're right. You use it, it's better. But I mean, there's obviously different CRMs out there, and if you're willing to use it and learn it, then they can do more for you.
Yeah, absolutely. As your business grows, for instance, but when you're starting out, I'm just assuming your
CRM.
database is, you have probably less than 50 people, 100 people, or whatever. So really, you can manage that from an Excel spreadsheet, so to speak. It's really. But as you evolve, as you get bigger, you don't want to. This is why a team is good. So you're getting into something without having to pay. You got to pay for these bigger
and
CRMs,
they're not cheap.
right? They're not cheap, right? So that's another benefit of joining a team. You see somebody else doing the homework.
Yep.
Somebody else did the homework. Somebody else has provided the resources for you. It's there. So that is the other added benefit, right?
All right, let's move on from starting out, realtor starting out. What else was there?
There's no prep. By the way, this whole
Yeah,
thing.
this
We
was-
really
this was-
just let's see how it goes.
Let's just start. We were kind of okay. We'll kind of explain. We were kind of off for a bit because the company we used stopped doing it. So we were kind of looking at different options, different providers, and then we just started delaying it because we weren't doing it. We kind of got lazy with it, and now we're just like, okay, let's just book the day and let's just get there and start
Let's just do
talking
it.
so that we can just
So,
continue on. Right?
Actually, a nice segue into why are we doing this? Why are we podcasts? Why are we doing social media?
Yeah.
Right? Wait, let me just back a little bit. 2 years ago, pretty much 2 years ago, we were, deer in headlights when we're looking at the camera. Not
Yeah.
to say we're so special now, but
Yeah,
at
yeah.
least we're consistent
Yeah.
into what we're doing. And but why is it that we're doing it? Let's talk about that. Why are we doing this? Why don't we just why are we just saying forget
'Cause
about
everyone
being perfect?
says we have to. No, I'm joking.
Well,
No, it's all it is. It's to help people, for one, get to know. It's a big world out there. Right? There's lots of realtors. We want people to get to know us, and you can't get face to face with everybody, even if you're going door to door, on the phone. So this is one way for us to kind of let people see who we are as people, whether they like. Listen, not everyone's gonna like us. We hope they do, but.
well, we thought we did. They
Yeah,
did.
yeah.
Everybody.
But at least this way they can get a flavor for how we are, what we do, our knowledge, our experience, and it's just a way to get out there and let people know who we are and what we're doing.
Yeah. So one way of us getting, hurdling over we had to be, in the beginning especially, we thought we had to be perfect. Just like this
Yeah, yeah.
podcast. Even when we started this, we're kind of, we had to be perfect. We had the right angle, right equipment, right room.
Right.
I mean, at the end of the day, it means nothing. We just have to do it. And
There's some people that do it just with a Zoom, right? And it's a very good podcast.
Exactly.
A very good podcast.
You
right?
just have to be out there. So to go a little to go a little further into what you said, we want our presence out there. We want a constant reminder to everybody that we know.
Right.
And we don't do this enough. Actually, we don't ask people, what
we
their
don't.
handle is. Their social media handles, so
Right,
so we can
right.
follow them. They can follow us.
Yeah.
We don't do that enough, and I think we should more because, again, we just want to remind people that we're there. We're always there. Oh, and we want them almost to feel like we're their security blanket. Oh,
Right.
they can always count on us being there. So, and some of the things that we're doing, really, we're just trying to be ourselves. I
Yeah.
think we got a little bit better at it when we decided that, it's best to be ourselves. We have aspects about the business, we have aspects about the personal, and we're not going to appeal to everybody. Nobody's going to laugh at all our what we think is
Right.
funny. Nobody's going to think maybe our ideas are good, but we don't want to attract those people anyway. We want to attract
Yeah, it's a good way. It's a good way to kind of
want to attract like-minded
people,
Yeah.
right? It's a good way to kind of throw it out there, and then whatever is like us is going to kind of get attracted to it, right?
It'll connect. They'll connect, and this is why we do it. And again, it's about consistency. I think for that we're getting a lot better.
Yeah.
Even to do this podcast today, we
both,
didn't have.
we both were like,
We're like, oh, should
no, we didn't say anything to each other. We kind of just, I know in my head, I'm like, can we just,
Yeah,
I just delay this again? Let's start in the new year, right? Let's start in December.
yeah. Maybe let's start on today's. Let's start on Monday.
Right.
That way, I'll have my
Yeah.
haircut by then,
Right.
or whatever the case is. Always an excuse, but I think we got better into saying
Just do
let's
it.
just do it.
Yeah.
We don't have a guest yet, so what?
We didn't, none of us said it to each other. I didn't say to you, I don't want to do it. You didn't say to me, we didn't feel like
No,
doing
because
it.
we know that's not the right. We
Right, it's not
understand.
the right thing. It's not the right thing.
Yeah. Actually, when I think about it, we kind of evolved pretty good that way. Remember how many times?
Oh,
I remember me.
Oh, remember what?
Well, no, I'm just saying. Like we just said, we got to redo it. A take used to take, hours. That's first. And secondly, we kept postponing because we thought we had to be perfect in this thing, and that's farthest from the truth.
Just start doing it. Yeah, we just gotta start. We just start doing it.
But what's the main reason why we just is farthest from the truth? The main reason why is at the end of the day, nobody cares.
Oh, why we? Yeah, no one. Yeah.
I mean, they're watching, but nobody's gonna see that you're.
No, there's too many people. Like, listen, there's too many people worry about themselves, like, for sure. Like and they have their own people and family, friends to worry about. What do they care about us? Like, why are they gonna?
They don't.
Right?
We're just trying to be ourselves.
We're just
get
trying
our
to-
message across, and
do I mean
and be better.
do good work, be do what we do the best we can try to convey that the best we can on social or
You know what I find? I find it a little bit. I don't know. I think for you too. Maybe I find it a little therapeutic, actually, because I sit there. Yeah, because I sit there and I go, whoa. You know what? I want to talk. I want to talk about this. I just do. I just want to talk about it. I want to. I feel like I want to get off my chest.
Rather than talking to yourself, you can sit on camera and get.
That's
it out
right.
there.
Yeah. You know.
Yeah, I don't know if I mean, I see what you're saying. I think there's definitely points where it's felt therapeutic to me. Certain things I've said or I've recorded.
Just things you just.
But I think maybe you're doing that a bit more than I am. I think you're kind of talking about things that maybe are on your mind a bit more than I am. I'm maybe.
And again, this is more like I think that helped me too. Actually, when I'm looking at the camera, I'm actually pretending I'm talking to Nick.
Right.
I'm actually pretending I'm talking to Nick.
And telling him what's on your mind.
Yeah, because I looked at it and I go, I'm such a big mouth at the family gatherings or something. Like
right.
Say, I have such a big mouth, and then all of a sudden in the video I'm ooh ee ah, like where did that come from? So.
Well, I think I said that to you earlier. Like, well, just pretend like you're talking to somebody, right? Like that was it.
No, exactly. So
like you don't have that. Like, not that you have an issue. I'm saying you don't have that. Like that. I don't want to call it insecurity. It's not insecurity, but that.
You self-consciousness.
Yeah, that's like when you're talking. So why would you have it when there's a nobody in front of you, just a camera, right?
Yeah, exactly. So. Yeah. So anybody who's thinking or in this business. So going back, this kind of ties into anybody coming into this business, right? Anybody coming into this business, I'm sorry, you got to show you got to have a presence on social media.
Yeah.
I mean,
unless you're really working it old school, like unless you're really. But I don't know how. I don't know how you. Because if you're coming in, you're younger. Your audience and your sphere of influence is going to be people that are younger on social media. I can see some of the more tenured agents out there that already have a business established that are not kind of getting on social, but they have their own clientele base that isn't really there. So I can see that working.
It's not. Listen, it's not. Nobody's going to die, but I think you're seriously disadvantaged, and you got to get your face out there. That's just the business, and that's just my opinion. But going with that, don't you find everybody's on it?
I think for us, we follow people in real estate that are on it, right? And we follow our peers, our colleagues. So to us, our whole feed is real estate.
Right.
But I think people that don't have that are probably just seeing a couple people they follow.
Okay.
I would hope.
Fair enough.
Otherwise, we just look and sound like everyone else then, right?
Yeah.
Because when I see our own feed, and it's all real estate, I'm like, Jesus, are we going to do this when everyone else is kind of doing something similar? Like, what are we doing here? But I don't think everyone, the consumer, mind you, then that gets into like who the audience is. And really, a lot of time in real estate, the audience is other realtors. It's actually not the end user or the consumer, right? I mean,
but that's
I was saying we want. I mean, I guess we want both. Maybe depending what your goals are. Like some people in real estate are getting into kind of the media side of things, and to them, those real estate agents end up being clients. But we kind of want also the people that are buying, selling, or investing in real estate.
No, we do want that. But at the same time, you know what? It's actually, you just made a point that I wanted to bring up. Our presence on social media, a lot of realtors, it gets in the face of more realtors than the actual public. But you know what? That's not a bad thing either, because essentially all our dealings are through realtors. I mean, realtors are representing over 90% of the buyers, for instance, or buyers out there. So who are we talking to most of the time? It's the realtors. So in a way, they're already knowing us before talking to us.
Yeah. There's times.
It's completely. It's really helpful. I find.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times you've had it? We talk to each other.
Yeah. Where they've called us. Oh my God, you're Anthony or Steve from the Property Boys. I feel like you guys are like.
Yeah.
Well, I'm saying famous, but in the real estate world, maybe we are a bit more famous than we. Are in the normal world, but.
No, it's just.
But it's helpful.
It's helpful.
It is helpful. And I've dealt with other agents that I've known from
social media
too, and it's the ice is already broken.
Exactly.
And I've seen them after we've dealt with them on social media. I'm like, okay, now I can kind of really I can really kind of engage with them nicely and properly.
Yeah. So going to what you're saying, yeah. So I totally agree with you. It's definitely becomes a warm call, when agents know you from social media. So that's
so it's helpful. But at the end of the day, we do want buyers, sellers to kind of
resonate.
Come to us on that platform and get new business from that as well. That's just not as common as you would think. What you said and what we, having that engagement with the other realtors and building that relationship is probably a lot more common.
Yeah. So as far as so to your point, as far as understanding a return, an investment return, is there an ROI to this thing?
So
No.
I think the biggest part of it is actually the reinforcement to people that maybe already know us, that are already in our sphere, that are friends, family, acquaintances that are on social. It's that reinforcement that maybe helps down the road when they're ready to buy or sell. They reach out to us because they see us all the time. And
because they see it. It's a reminder
that
all
new
the time. Yeah, that reminder all the time.
Not as common.
Yeah, so that's why we do it, and that's why we keep doing it. And looking at these videos all the time. Hopefully, we just get better. Right?
Yeah.
So what else? What other aspect of the business are you? What about the fact that, just quickly, I don't want to go too much into it. I guess there's 72,000 agents.
Yeah.
On Toronto Real Estate Board, and unfortunately, we have a bad rap. The barrier to entry is so low into this business. There's a bad rap. We get a bad rap. I mean, there's very good realtors, and then there's just downright awful ones.
Yeah.
You and I, we come from a business background.
Yeah.
So that, I think, having that and this business, they go hand in hand nicely.
It's funny. The barrier to entry is so low, but the barrier to success is
extremely high.
So high.
But
right?
there's still it's still those.
But it's still that
it's thorn. It's a thorn in
hurts
the
whole
business.
industry, right?
It does. It's just a shame.
And that's the industry. That's really it's the fault of. I don't want to start blaming. But
it's just a shame because this you wouldn't believe. Like we obviously like to to go or talk to or be around the elite in the business, and they're extremely smart people, educated, extremely smart, amazing insight, and then we get a bad rap, because of the
80%, maybe more. Aren't.
No, I think there's at least I think the number was 10%. 90% of the business out there is done by 10% of the agents.
Is it 90-10?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. But those other people though, they're there, and they
make noise.
They make noise,
louder noise probably, right? Because more of them.
Yeah. I mean, we've had it. We've lost clients because my nephew just got his license,
Right.
And is he still a bricklayer?
Right.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with being a bricklayer. My
no,
grandfather
absolutely
was a bricklayer.
No, but no, yeah.
Actually, my grandfather actually had his real estate. Now that you think about it, he actually had his real estate
but back
license.
then it was just a
back
paper.
then I think he just
You see?
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying.
I think.
But we lose out because I want to give. I mean, we want to give him a shot, right?
Yeah. And
I don't even understand how that.
Yeah,
works.
I mean, and listen, we had our shots when we started, I guess too, right? We had our shots, but I mean, at the same time,
we were good though.
We did have some business background. We had some sales background. We were in business, right? So that helps. Not that you have to be in business to do this job, by any means, but we also we were full time right away, right?
That means a lot,
which is
right?
Which is another.
We're constant. That's the other point. We're constantly learning,
constantly,
and this ties into being at the right brokerage. We
constantly.
The right peers, the right leadership, and the right resources.
We were with another agent. Who was it? Now I'm trying to remember where I heard this. I can't remember where it was, but we were talking. He was a part-time when he started, but he's a great agent. He's a great agent. He was probably a great agent even then. So I'm not saying that every part-time agent is weak or is mediocre.
No, absolutely not.
But the likelihood of it is that because they're not doing full. We don't have the time to do what we have to do every day at the level that we have to do it, and we're full time.
Yeah.
So how can you have the time when you're working 8 or 9 to 5 another job to truly understand the market, the business, the marketing, the experience in negotiating and understanding pricing and strategy. Like, it's just, I don't understand unless you're a genius. Maybe
it's just like if it's almost like if you want to be a bodybuilder and decide you only want to work out once a week. Like, it's impossible to make a living out of it, right? I'm just throwing a dumb thing there, but it's hard. So that was a commitment, actually. Just to go back, that was a commitment we made from the beginning. We took we took a chance and knew the importance of at least start of doing this full time.
Oh yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So that's the other.
Mind you, even when I started, because I was still working when I was getting while I was getting my license, in my head I was almost like, well, if I don't want to do it, I could always do a few deals here and there or invest, use it to invest. And even having it to think that you could invest, it'll help me invest. It could, but unless you are in the business, doing it every day and analyzing the numbers and to identify those opportunities that you think you would identify if you were just doing it here and there, it would just not happen.
No,
you just wouldn't have the insight.
No.
I thought differently when I started too, but I knew that, and part of it was even you saying. I remember you saying it once to me, like, no, you got to do it full time. There's no.
Yeah, there's no way.
If you want to make it a business, a true business and a true career profession, right? Can you do your mom's house once every 5 years?
And I'm not just, and I think you obviously agree. There's tremendous value, even with all the information that is out there, which is good. This is great for the public. Even with all the information out there, there's tremendous value into being knowing a realtor, getting the advice from a realtor.
Oh yeah,
a good one. I mean,
you got to make. I think I just did it in a post actually. I think it's just today actually. You have to. Don't get me wrong. You have to be able to make that client that commission you're charging them. That 2.5% has got to be there in terms of value you're providing for the service. So, you are taking a huge load off that client. They don't have to do these things. They don't have to engage. There's that, and in the money that you should be saving them or making them on the buy or the sell. Right.
Absolutely.
Between that, you should cover that 2.5%. Otherwise,
yeah. What's the value?
What's the value?
But it brings me to a point. What is it that essentially people are paying for when they hire a realtor? What essentially they pay? It's not the sign. It's not the the staging. It's not the fancy brochures, because that's easily duplicated.
Easily replicated, yeah.
Replicated.
Or duplicated, yeah.
So anyway, that's easy. So what are they really paying for? They're paying for the conversations.
Like everything else, knowledge.
They're paying for the conversations, the conversations we have with the public, the conversations we have with other realtors. This is where the competency comes out.
Which is leaning on the experience, your knowledge, the continuous learning. That's what it's just like anything else. It's just like when you pay a lawyer for their knowledge, now they've gone to school for 8 years. In this world, you're not going to school for 8 years. You're just getting that knowledge and that experience
just through
doing the job.
By doing the job and
right.
And yeah.
Someone sells their home if they were to sell their own once, twice, 3 times in their
lifetime, yeah.
We're selling, whatever, how many.
I can't even
right.
I can't even tell you the countless times I heard, "Oh, my realtor was amazing because he sold our house in a day."
Yeah.
I mean, how many?
Or we got over ask.
Yeah, he or she was absolutely amazing, and way more often than not, you've seen it. We've seen, even and we don't say it because we don't want to, when a deal is done,
Mm-hmm.
But when you have a second cousin that just sold and we look into what happened, there was money left on the table.
Yeah.
We see that a lot.
Yeah.
But again, people just do this 3-4 times maybe in their lifetime.
Yeah.
And so they don't have their head obviously wrapped into this industry and what it entails, how prices get to where they are, and the momentum in the market, very critical.
Yeah. How to attribute the right value to the right property so that you can get that extra $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000.
So let's talk about that for one and so again, you're paying for the conversations that we have, that how well we can portray or represent you to the public and to obviously to everybody. How many times have you had to, have a narrative, or explain the value of the property through a narrative through that you in turn told the agent, and that agent in turn.
Oh, the whole point, the whole job
is that
is you're lucky if you find an agent like you had recent experience where you had a good agent on both sides, and you were able to convey the right narrative, the right story. It was the right person to convey that back to the client. We don't get to always, I don't want to say sell, but we don't get to sell to the other buyer, right? To the buyer. If you're listing it, you don't get to sell to that buyer. You have to sell to the agent,
who in turn would be the cheerleader for you.
It's going to sell to the buyer.
Absolutely.
And if that agent isn't good enough to convey that to the buyer, there is a loss in translation that happens there, right?
But So it's not even about. Yes, it could be the other side, but it's really about us.
Yeah.
More often than not, we're able to convey the message
To our own clients, you mean?
No, to them, and they in turn can explain it to their
Yeah,
clients.
yeah, of course, yeah.
So that
so
is
assuming they can, you have to be able to tell the
Create
right
that
story,
business
and create that business case so that they understand it, they can be bought into it.
Of
And
course,
be like, shit, okay, this is right.
I didn't.
client
You know
should
what?
do this, and it's the right move for my client.
And
right?
and you find all of a sudden, even them through the phone, you can hear them get excited.
Sure.
No, I mean excited in the sense that I didn't realize that, or I didn't realize this.
And there's been times we've had it on our end when we're maybe the buyer and a good agent on the other side is explaining something to us that maybe
we never caught.
We didn't catch maybe, and they're like, okay, this is good. So that's why it's important to have both good agents on both sides.
And here's the other thing that you're paying. You're paying for an agent that understands or is capable, that you have full confidence in capturing opportunities.
Yep.
Sometimes there's an opportunity there. We can find an opportunity, with just a small, tiny glimpse of an opportunity. We're able to open that up.
Right.
Those are the things that's what you're paying for in an agent. It's not the.
No, it's not the sign. It's not the staging. It's
the conversation.
It's that, and then good service. Like there's also a good service that's to be provided, right?
Absolutely.
A good experience, proper communication back and forth. Everything is happening when it's supposed to happen. The plan goes according to plan. All that is a service, along with what they're able to get you in terms of a better price or a better sale price, and that's what you're paying for. Not.
So you had the talking about that. You had a video just recently about a fly. If you
on the
wall,
we said that before, right?
Yeah.
We said that to each other many times.
Yeah. We would love. Actually, we always said it. Probably our big. If we went on listing appointments and we just had, just recordings, maybe of how, we conduct ourselves to people, to agents, etc. Maybe that could be our whole listing.
Presentation. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Maybe. Yeah. Even just when you're on the phone with other agents during multiple offers and how those are conducted.
That's an art. That's an art in itself, right?
Because like I said in that post, people don't get to see, not that you see whatever, like you don't see what a lawyer's doing behind the scene either, right? Like you don't see it, but I mean they're itemizing a bill and showing you what they've done, right? Usually in terms of what's happening, and there's a lot more back and forth communication that takes place that you can kind of see what's happening. In our world, you don't really get to see that much. So.
They don't. So they gotta. I think right now a lot of people see us as transactional,
right?
Just paperwork, which is part of the job. Don't get me wrong. You gotta dot your I's, cross the T's. But it definitely goes way beyond that. It goes way beyond that.
Way beyond.
And it's just like. Getting a good lawyer, like if you're in trouble, God forbid, I'm just saying you're in trouble. You're in for murder. I mean, you're gonna get the best lawyer because you say if there's the biggest shot of me getting off or you getting off, it's gonna be this lawyer.
Yeah,
that's truly the way you should look at it. You can't just get any lawyer for that.
No, and you're paying, like if you think about it, you're paying either way. You're paying a good agent, or you're paying a poor agent. Now you may pay a little bit less, granted, because the poor agent. Probably, if they can't negotiate their own rates, they're probably not going to negotiate the price of your house.
Probably not. They absolutely.
So you might save 10 grand, 15, but that 10 grand is made up in minutes by doing the right thing and speaking the right way.
But going to your point, right? So there are agents that do it for less, but truly it is less. I can pull your bad tooth for less than the dentist.
Right.
If you want me to do that, I will do that for you.
Right.
No problem. At a fraction of the price.
Right.
But it's less for a reason. Like,
yeah.
God forbid.
Is it painful?
First of
gonna be
all,
painful.
I don't
It's not
even
gonna
know.
be as good of a job.
I don't even know if you should be pulling out your tooth. So,
Right.
But if you want me to, I will.
Right.
So, I mean, that's another topic in itself.
Yeah,
Less agents that charge less. Truly, you're getting less. Like you are getting less. Just like the dentist example.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, one thing I want to talk about open houses.
Okay.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about the history of open houses, whether it's beneficial today in today's
Market.
market or today, period. First of all, let me get your take. We've talked about this, but let's hear your take on open houses. Is it worth it for the seller?
So I say yes. It's worth it because you just, in my mind, in our mind, I think you're just leaving no stone unturned, right? There are people that come to open houses without their agents because they just don't want to bother the agent. There's people that just like doing it. We have sold a number of times a home to someone that came to an open house, and not to say that they wouldn't have seen it otherwise, but the benefit to them, to us being able to sell it. Remember we talked just now about us having to sell the buyer's agent. This gives us the opportunity to really convey our business case, our narrative of that listing
right directly
to a buyer, right? So we don't have to trust the other agent and whether or not they're good enough to do it or not, or it just gives us that direct line of communication with that potential buyer. So just for that reason, I mean, is it more work for us? Yes. Do we get, people will tell you that, it's good for agents because we get to meet people.
But it is.
Which it is.
It is.
Absolutely.
There's no question.
Absolutely
There's no question it is. But here's my take, and everything that you said, and we talked about this numerous times, everything that you said is absolutely 100% true. And the key there was we're not leaving any stone unturned, right? There's no denying, right? Let's go back up. Open houses at one time was perfect before the internet. Nobody knew what was for sale unless their realtor or somebody had that book,
right? Right.
Or they drove around and saw the signs and start. It was beneficial one time, but now obviously not so much. Everything is online.
You don't need it, right?
You absolutely don't need it. But again, no stone unturned is the key here, and just for that alone, have your agent do it.
Yeah,
you're paying for it anyway.
Yeah.
You're paying for it anyway. Yeah. So there's no denying that there is a small element of added exposure. Nobody can deny that.
No.
So just for that added exposure, you're paying for it anyway. Why not let it happen?
Okay, so I guess we'll wrap this up soon. But before we go, let's do a little quick, fun little thing. I'll ask you, what, in your opinion, maybe we can do the worst. What's the shittiest or the toughest part of the business? Actually, there's two different things. Shittiest and toughest are two different things. What's the shittiest part of the business? And then I'll kind of give you maybe the best part of the business. And I don't know the answer. I haven't thought about this, to be honest, so I don't.
So maybe it's not the way you want me to answer. Not the way you're hoping. I don't know if this is the right way of.
I have no expectations.
I hope this is. I just want to say one thing. In this business, if you're coming into this business, you have to fall in love with the process more than anything else because you're going to get 99% of the time you're going to have rejection.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we know though through so many rejections, we're going to get a client, a sale, a transaction done. So you have to fall in love with the process. You're going to have to I don't want to say fall in love with rejection, but be content knowing that there is a means to an end with that rejection. So
rejection is the shittiest part of the business then, in a sense.
No, sorry. To the outside world.
Maybe it's the lows, like the lows.
No, I'm sorry. I'm thinking the rejection is actually to the outside seems like the shittiest part of the business. To us, you got to learn to love that part of the business because we know
the more
the more rejections you get, eventually you're going to get that yes. So
right.
Outside in,
yeah,
you got to fall in love with that.
Right.
But going to truly what is the bad part of the business? This business is the loneliest business ever if you're not trying to work the business.
Yeah.
But the best business ever when you are working it.
Right. Yeah. I would say that for me, the best part of the business, this may sound cliche, but I think it's true. Like you are able to really, there's not many businesses that you can actually develop good relationships and friendships with your clients. Like we've had that where and it could be people that I knew from the past but didn't know as well. But then you got to work with them. You actually become very good friends. And
well, not is that I don't know, but I get separation anxiety when
there you go.
When you're dealing with the sellers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, when you've been that close, and then it's like you lost a friend because you can't just call them all the time. When you're in a cycle, you're calling them every other day.
Yeah,
right.
So it was not the same. It's definitely not the same.
No, it's not.
It's not the same anymore. So then you get a separation anxiety. You're like, oh,
yeah, and you almost feel bad and you start feeling bad that I haven't called them. They're used to me talking to them every day. And but you get busy and life has to go on. But I would say that's probably one of the better parts of the business is you do get to establish good friendships with whether people from your past that you weren't as close to or new people that you meet. You don't get that all the time.
That's what gets us going, though, right? That's how we can appreciate the rejection because we know those times
I don't know if
are
it gets
come
me
again.
going, but it's nice when it happens.
When it happens, we know it's going to happen when we get those new people, new deals, new friendships. So
and that's why you want to attract those like-minded people in some ways, right? We talked about it earlier on because you're going to be with them for quite a while, at least during the process. So, anyways, that's it. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
See you next time.